This is a story of the great devastation that fire can do. This is the third day. I actually have time to do this now because I truly believe I'm past the greatest danger point, even though sparks still try to ignite areas that have been saved. The majority of these pictures were gifted to me from my neighbor at the top of the hill when his house saw the fire first. Now, he was safe and secure in North Bend. He was viewing this all from a camera. So you can imagine what's going through his mind as the camera is moving around his property and looking at his house. And truly the reason why his house was saved is because it was made of stone and he had rock all the way around it with a tin roof. Because it came right up to the boundary, as you can see from the pictures. Now, I was down at my house, and literally the next door neighbor called his wife and says he saw smoke on the fire, and that fire beat him to the top of the mountain before he even got there. The wife drove over and told me, as she was telling me, the fire was already across. There was no time to evacuate. We had to fight just to stay alive. And as I was looking at the flames outside my north window, I turned to the south, and the flames were just as large, about an acre away at this point. And as I was praying, God just said, "Get your shoes on and go out to the tractor." Now, I'd been preparing for this for years. I'd been clearing the forest. The scenario of what to do had been going over and over in my mind. I was shaking with such great terror and fear, though, as I was walking to the tractor that my legs almost gave way. But as soon as I got on that tractor, God took over. It was the most incredible, amazing thing. The fear trebly completely left. I put my tractor into high gear. I scooped up the dirt as fast as I could, and I made fire breaks all over the property and around the buildings. By the time I'd gotten to the tractor, the fire was already up to my propane tank, and already up to the very edge of the grass and just a couple of yards from the barn. I literally was driving over the flames, trying to subdue them, and just going around and around just the barns and the house. And then I attempted to go into the neighbor's property, but his had so much scrub. The heat was unbearable. And of course, it only slowed it down by about 5 seconds. But my property was already so cleared away that there was hardly any scrub, and I was really fighting dry grass. And the smoke was so thick, I actually could not see more than a foot in front of me. As I masked my mouth with my hand, and my other hand drove the tractor, God drove me through the smoke, the incredible, incredible smoke. One time I fell into my fire pit, and I only knew that because of the huge bump into the fire pit. And then as I looked down, I could see the rocks on it. I knew exactly where I was at. I just backed up, moved over to the left 2 feet, and continued to drive through the smoke and the flames. Just not words enough for this. I hope to never live through this. I hope people would never have to live through this either. I tell you, I give glory to God on this one, keeping me stable. The fire marshals couldn't even get up. Our road, the trees had fallen, telephone poles, all the poles were down in the road. It took them about 4.5 hours even to get to the top of the mountain. And my next door neighbors and I, they of course had animals. They were fighting to keep their animals alive and their property going, and they did. Their house is safe. And I was just continually trying to keep our property and animals safe. My dog wouldn't even leave the house. He was so scared for 2 days. Today, the land is just smoldering. It's just going to keep an eye on it just to make sure sparks are not continuing to fly. Yesterday, the barn almost caught on fire. The floor caught on fire, actually. So it was just a matter of cleaning that out. And now it's just keeping an eye on things to make sure things don't get out of hand again, but the ground is completely burned all around. The plumes, the helicopters are coming in, taking water from our ponds, trying to continue to fight the fire. It's only about 10% contained. Sorry if I'm a little incoherent, very tired, exhausted. I have so many people writing me and asking if I'm okay. So it's not just me. I'm sending this out to all my people, and thank you for carrying in your prayers. This is to everybody else who wants to know what's going on up here at Lookout Mountain and truly down the whole valley. The fire continues to rage. Continue to pray. I have that garbage can is my water. Fortunately, God bless the neighbors above who've given us a shower to shower at and a place to clean our clothes. They're all self-contained, huge generator up there, and that is just really incredible. So I've got something to drink. He gave me God bless you, Todd, for giving me the generator to keep my refrigerator going. And I'm actually running my computer from that generator also. I figured it'd just be very therapeutic to get this video out to the world. Thank you, everybody. Keep us all in your prayers. It is.
So I'm going to give you a glimpse of the fear and trembling that everyone in the wake of this fire is going through. So I'm looking out my north-facing window of my house, and there are the flames. I can't even tell you how tall, licking all the way up the trees. And God taps me on the shoulder and says, turn behind you. And as I turn to the south, the flames are just as high. In deep prayer, I asked God, what do you want me to do? And with shaking and trembling, as if I could barely move my legs, I walked to my faithful tractor, got on it, and God took over. What I could not do on my own, God grabbed a hold of my hands, put that tractor in high gear, put that blade down, scraped up as much soil as I could, and started going around and around in a circle across all our property, the barn back there, and the house. Propane tank, licking flames around it. And I went around and around in a circle, dumping sand on the flames, like where the propane tank were. Flames that just happened to be igniting every area of soil possible. And I just drove over the flames and plowed the flames under. 4.5 continuous hours of doing this. There was no escape. The flames came up so fast. The next door neighbor's husband called the wife and said, I see smoke. And he drove frantically, there's my fire break, frantically up the hill. The fire beat him up that hill. The wife ran over to me, said there's fire on the mountain. By the time her husband got here, yelled at her to get back so they could save their animals. We were surrounded. There was no escape. It truly was fight or perish. Yeah, I could perish while I'm fighting, but I sure wasn't just going to sit there and do nothing. And truly, it was God's prompting that said, you can do this. And he got me on that tractor, and you can see the fire break. There's the fire. There is the fire. This was the flame. Well, my fire break was, and there's my house. There's the barn. It got even closer. It was only a couple yards from the barn. It went so fast. There's the helicopter. They're coming to our ponds to get the water. They're continuing to fight, as you can see how close they are. And our ponds are over the ridge. As you can see, everything's just burnt to a crisp. So here's our barn. As you can see how close the fire break is, because I was literally driving over the flames. They were moving so fast. I knew I did not have time to make one round around the property. So I constantly crisscrossed around this fire break to break from the barn and to at least try and save the barn and the house. It worked. Oh my gosh, there's just not enough words. Oh, I see my pump on, doesn't do any good. We have no water up here anyway. And the fire marshals got up here about 4.5 hours later because the roads were completely blocked by fallen trees, telephone poles, Everything went down so fast. Here's our next door neighbors, everything gone. Incredibly fast. Their barn, their garage, their house, all made of wood, completely melted to the ground. Our next door neighbors also have a ton of rock around their house. That was a saving grace for saving their house. We have a ton of rock around our place. I, of course, have also been clearing the land, so there was only 2 inches of grass to burn. Here's just a little fine spark from wherever, just jumping in and burning the area. This couldn't be doused, so I just had to scrape up all the grass and dump dirt on it. Continue to scrape it up. And then, of course, there's the house. There's the barn. Huge fire break up there, which stopped the fire from going into this little stubble, but even the little stubble would have burned quickly if it would have jumped. But the fire break held, and you can see the black in there. Just the most incredible experience of my life that I would hope to never relive. I pray no one have to live through it either. But there's so many thousands of people who are going through it right now. Fire is only 10% contained at this point. It's the 3rd day of fighting this fire, and it's exhausting. Anyway, that's a little bit of a chronicle. The day in the life of a fire. We continue to fight them as sparks, even from the other side of the mountain, are flying in. The barn almost went up yesterday as the sparks flew in on the sawdust floor and almost took the barn away. That's the reason why the tractors parked so closely, because I had to go in there and take that out as fast as I could before the barn went up. Lost 2 diesel barrels, only 1 left. The other diesel barrel's in the truck, ready to be taken to the dump. Once the firefighters could get through, they were just a saving grace. There were only 3 of us on the mountain, the people in the log cabin next door and me. And we just really pulled together. And then our neighbor, who lived completely at the top, had a huge generator. He's been letting us go up there and take a shower. Even slept there last night so I could get a few hours of sleep before coming back and battling the fire again. Just incredible. Great people. God's saving grace is just, yeah, something I hope I never have to live through again. This is the aftermath. Actually, it was yesterday. I took these pictures after the fire had moved through, burning everything, blackening the earth. I just want to really thank all the firefighters and our neighbors and, oh my gosh, the hundreds of people and friends who've been emailing, texting, calling. I have, of course, have not been able to reply because of no power, and just continuously being outdoors and continuing to fight this fire. I'm hoping the bulk of the work is done now. It probably is for me, but the fire rages on all over the mountain, all over the valley. It's just horrendous. Really want to thank Todd and Donna. Oh my gosh, easing our lives. The 3 of us who are up here battling this fire, giving us baths and a place to stay when we need a break. Thank you so much for all that you've done for us, and thank you everyone for your prayers, and continue to pray for the thousands of others that this fire is zooming through, and just taking things. Okay, here we have the helicopter actually flying over, and he's coming to get water from
our ponds. And so I am so grateful we actually have water in our ponds. So you're going to see the helicopter fly over and take his water bag. And then he's going to go down. Okay, he's way too high for me. So circling around. And now he's going to dip the bag in our pond. So that's how the helicopters are getting their water to fight the fire that has already moved through our property. As you can see, our property is already just black. And so the helicopters are coming in, getting water from our ponds, which is very cool. How great how God arranges that. There's always something to use out here. How talented. And the fire is just not even a mile away. The fire, we were the first to be burnt. And so the wind shifted, and it's just on the north side of our mountain right now, burning. As you can see, the sky is very, very smoky. So that's what the helicopters are doing. How cool. And how talented. Yeah, so, and he's back like every 10 minutes, so he is fast. He is fast. It only takes him 5 minutes to go, drop it, and come back.